Welcome back, my name is Muligan and this is Xenonauts 2 Kickstarter. We are back with the Xenonauts 2 June update. Now first up we see more or less artwork for the UFO, alien UFO. So at the beginning, if you can remember, I was pretty taken back by the design they decided to go because, I mean, in the first game you had more or less alien-like but still human-like designs for UFOs, and now we are more or less going for the sci-fi direction. I mean, it could be, if it was higher, it could be a Borg cube. So, I mean, it's a design choice. Why not? It makes the interior a little bit difficult to design, in my opinion. But it's their choice. I am going to be okay with that. This definitely makes it a lot easier to design entrance points if you want to go for an unorthodox entry instead of the door. You can just blow up one of the sides, I hope at least, and then just run in, which gives a lot more strategic depth to the game, which you couldn't really do in Xenonauts 1. I mean, there was a mod, and it did work sometimes, but not all the time, and not everywhere. You had specific spots, I believe, at least. So, gameplay wise, this makes a lot more sense. And I mean, it's alien technology. We don't really know. You could have a little sphere that rolls around in the ground combat, for all I care, to be honest. As long as you have more gameplay options. So, a couple weeks ago we got a new patch, the closed beta version 5. Sure. This whole announcement is mostly about that they got more art going out. There we go, update, we introduced some new artwork, some major upgrades to the air combat, and further work on the tech tree and alien progression. So this is mostly because they are going to get more artwork for, I believe, weapons. We can look down here. UFO painting, okay, the background, they changed that a little bit. New strategic UI background, some new weapons, inventory tiles. So they are doing more or less, or they're trying to get some more art assets in to make it look like the successor to Xenonauts 1. Not make it look like Xenonauts 1, but make it like they envision it to look like. But for that, art is not really a big update for players, so they are going for some tech tree and gameplay progression, and they are going to introduce alien variants, like in Xenonauts 1, non-combatants, lightly equipped, some elite variants with more powerful weapons are going to be in there. Similar, you have maybe something like an engineer, medic, who has only a pistol, but maybe different to Xenonauts 1, maybe they run around and they do stuff. That would be interesting. Let the medic run up to a soldier and bandage him. Let the engineer try to repair the ship while it's on the ground. I mean, it doesn't have to go and leave, but maybe it's his job. We are crashed, our generator doesn't work anymore, so the engineer is going to repair the generator. I mean, what should he do? It's his whole job. They are going to do some improvements of the code again, especially for the air combat. They want to make it deeper and interesting. I don't know how, but they want to make it a little more more playable, but still be able to play automatically, which it seems to me would be pretty hard to do. But we will see what they have in mind. And they will introduce some smaller features like the crash sized airstrike, so you can get a little bit money for not really going for the mission. They want to remove the ability to assign soldiers to multiple activities, which you could do. You can have people in these little on the map missions to get some scientists or money, and at the same time you could just use them in a normal crash site. So, which is a little bit, I mean, it is not designed to do that. This is going out at the 26th, but there was one thing here. This is, if everything works well, the first Soviet town terror map can make an appearance, which is yay, terror map. I mean, if you like it, I don't like terror missions because they are terror missions. This, by the way, is the update May 14th for the that they had introduced, the version 5. Ground combat, safe and load, which seems to have be a little bit more complicated, which I can understand. You have to have all positions of all units, of their equipment, more probably their charge, if they have a weapon in terms of Xenonauts, and maybe their goal. I don't know if there is a goal for enemy, for aliens. But there are a lot of little things you have to probably save, and it seems it can become complicated. New ground combat UI, which is which we saw in the picture last time. Placeholder. Then we have some shooting mechanics fixed for aliens that could just shoot through walls and the floor, which I didn't really encounter. Rework smaller UFO map, because this is one thing that I had seen. I had a really long thin map, which was just too long, especially because the aliens didn't leave the UFO. So I ran 5 minutes towards the UFO to find everyone inside. So the smaller maps have smaller areas now, which is good. Some alien weapon art. There was not that much progress, if I remember correctly. We have some strength shown. More aliens are going to turn up. We have some of these things, especially the first one. Like in Xenonauts 1, doors on alien ships auto-close, and you cannot close them manually. Which makes sense somewhat, but you can open them. I mean, it's a design choice. You can cheat fighting aliens if you can open and close the door. I do understand that, and I would do that, definitely. Overwatch no longer trigger at the start of a mission. Don't really, probably for the Xenonauts themselves. I don't believe for aliens, because they did exactly add time units for aliens so they can overwatch at the start. Maybe it's you land and aliens that could see you just start firing. That could be what they changed here. Overwatch now interrupts movement instead of waiting for you to move to wherever you move and then shoot like a nice alien being. which makes no sense. Soldiers now rotate if you use a med kit instead of telling them to move to rotate and then use the med kit. They do that themselves now. It's just a little bit nice to have. You don't have to micromanage that much. You now have the fire cursor over aliens that the team can see, but not your soldier that you have marked at the moment. Probably then just shows you a 0% chance. And a little couple small changes. Weapons are scaling, SMGs are not OP anymore, and armor is not as heavy. And bug fixes. This is always the big thing. Bug fixes, bug fixes, bug fixes. So that is mostly it. So we can expect some more finished art to make it look a lot more finished, polished. Polished is probably the better word. And we probably get closer and closer to the early access launch. I don't know how many updates there are after this, or there are plans for. I mean, they finally add some non-combatants, so you don't have 5 or 6 soldiers to fight, but maybe 2 or 3 soldiers plus 3 non-combatants, which should make the missions easier early on. Unless naturally, if you give, that is the only thing I would really want. Non-combatants, medics and stuff, they just should do whatever they have to do, what their job is. That would be perfect if the medic... How hard could a mission get if you have 3 civilian soldiers and a medic that runs around and heals those guys every time you try to damage them? So you have to try, okay, can we out DPS the heal, or can we go in and remove the medic from the fight? Now the mechanic is, if we repair stuff, this is only for more for feel. It's not really useful for the gameplay, but it just seems right. You run in, you know the reactor is done because you see smoke going up, so you know the technician is in there repairing stuff. Maybe not even having a weapon. Maybe he has some tools to repair. That would be nice. But that is it for the June update. How is it? We didn't have an update in May. So I would appreciate maybe one update a month, even if it's not that much. Not really game update, but just shooting a message would always be nice, so that people know what is going on. But they do seem to keep a pretty good pace, 1.5 months tops between these. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.